Why Japan is anti-God, a faithless society. What a fucking title that is. Okay, let's see what this is. I'll just put the link in here from the start. I'll post it again later. Okay, so if you play JRPGs, look, if you play JRPGs, basically the game is almost always going to end with you killing God. It's very common. Like, I'm more surprised when a JRPG ends with anything besides killing God. And if it's not God, it's usually some... it's usually some God insert that's close enough. Now, my assumption, putting aside any, like, cultural reasons, it's just cool. It's just cool to be able to fight some, like, giant divine being. And I'm sure a lot of people don't really think too much about it. Or when the JRPG reveals that God is already dead. Yes. Yes. With FF13, you fight the Pope. So that's a thing as well. Anyway, let's have a look at the video.
We've all been through this before. You're playing a JRPG or watching an anime, and it starts simple enough. Main character starts in a sleepy town with dreams bigger than themselves. They're determined to be a legendary hero like the ones they grew up idolizing. Next thing you know, 12 episodes and 14 hours later, you are quite literally on the precipice of killing God.
Yeah, that's about right.
And you're just thinking, what the f***? You were stabbing rats for gold in a tavern basement 2 weeks ago. Now God calls you a bitch and you're off to...
Fucking hell. This fucking gif is so stupid.
Work his ass? How the f*** did you get here? And the ironic thing is that this happens a lot in Japanese media. Like, the whole trope of killing God has been memed to hell and back. To the point where a lot of games from Japan are known for this more than anything else. And while this trope is mainly known in JRPGs, plenty of anime and manga use this for their own stories. On the lesser end, you have stories of characters fighting vaguely divine...
Okay, to be fair, Fate's a special exception. Fate is a very special exception because every single character is like a legendary person throughout history. Honestly, probably like the least legendary characters are some of the ones from Fate Go, where it's like Leonardo da Vinci. But like pretty much everyone else is either a god or effectively as strong as a god. God, I love Rin and Rin likes.
Beings. On the more extreme end, you have stories where the MC calls...
Okay, I'll give you Yojo Senki. I will give you Yojo Senki.
Characters fighting vaguely divine beings. On the more extreme end, you have stories where the MC calls God a hoe and is actively trying to disprove him. But the one thing a lot of these stories do share is this almost...
I'm not gonna say human god spoilers, but it's pretty clear from where the anime's going that he's a sussy boy. He's a sussy bucker, as you might say.
Uncaring attitude of how a god should be portrayed. A lot of Japanese storytellers treat the idea of being divine almost in contempt. And there is a frame of reference for this. In a paper by Joel Mensika, where he talks about the anti-religious nature of games from Japan, he says, quote, Japanese games, on the other hand, freely and frequently make use of religion in critical narratives. Indeed, this rebellion against gods, or God, as the main narrative theme, seems to give reason to assume that JRPGs actually propose god killing, or deicide. That said, though, this is the same genre where there's usually a dating sim on the way to kill said god.
True.
Maybe it's trying to tell us something else.
Or you may end up dating God. Depends on the game.
But I find the fact that we've seemingly accepted the god-killing nature of anime and manga very interesting. Because where other storytellers and devs are hesitant to even mention religion...
What you're saying is they're pussies and don't want to do a fun story.
Japan is willing to straight up bulldoze through the topic. You'll go...
I think part of the reason for that is Japan is not... Especially with, like, Western religions, there is certainly Christianity in Japan, but it's a very minor religion. Right? It's kind of... Okay, here's a good example. No one takes issue with a game where you maybe go around killing Greek gods or Norse gods. I'm talking a game like God of War, right? Like, because most people are not actually... They don't actually believe in these religious traditions. Japan kind of just worships nature and spirits. Yeah. And Japan has lots of different gods. Like, every little shrine has their own god. Japan had a lot of Buddhist influences. Yeah. Which will explain the anthropomorphic gods and reincarnation. Right. And, isekai, yeah. I think it's just the fact that in the West, there is more of a... It's more of, like, part of the core culture of... Like, Christianity is... You can't really separate Western culture from Christianity. Like, it's a very large part of its formation. God of War, Egyptian gods, Norse... Yeah, exactly.
From games like League of Legends, where the devs are literally not allowed to label any of their pseudo-divine characters as gods out of fear of getting their game banned in some regions, to stories like Yojo Senki, where a small anime girl literally tells God to fuck off and continues to live just despite him.
Dub voices.
I want to know, why exactly stories from Japan do this, and why does it always end in the death of a god? And the answer to that is a lot more complicated than you think.
It's cool.
Is dead. God remains dead, and we have killed him. How shall we comfort ourselves?
So if you watch anime for any period of time in your life, you've probably walked away from a show with a basic but skewed understanding of Japanese culture. I mean, I get
This guy has really based anime taste. Holy shit. I have not seen a single thing that is a bad choice on this. This is Scarlet Bullet.
Fan subs convinced me this is how Japanese people actually talk. How could anime lie to me like this? But the one thing you probably noticed in anime is the religion of Japan, Shintoism. Plenty of anime have scenes where the characters are praying at some kind of shrine, either for good luck or blessings. In the same way that there's always gonna be a beach episode, there's always gonna be an episode at a Shinto shrine. But what isn't shown is just how diverse the gods Shintoism prays to. Unlike, say, Christianity, Shintoism isn't really that organized. There's no pope-like figure, no holy...
My understanding is also most people in Japan aren't really... It's not like people are devout religious followers. It's more of like a core part of the culture, right? It's sort of like... It's like... Well, I guess Japan does celebrate it now, but it's like, Easter and Christmas, where it's... Even if you're not someone who is part of that religion, you still generally celebrate it. It's a core cultural element rather than a religious ceremony.
Scripture or strict catechisms to adhere to. Even the Jinja Honcho, an association of over 800,000 Shinto shrines across all of
80,000,
Japan,
you can't
mentions
read.
that there's like 4 major forms of Shintoic rites with hundreds of subsects and localized beliefs. It's way too much information for me to condense down, honestly. But point is, worship in Shintoism is very localized and very amorphous. There's still the big national festivals like Tanabata that celebrate specific deities, but for every one of those,
which in certain regions actually is celebrated at a different time of the year.
Have smaller local festivals celebrating whatever god or spirit that community believes to exist around them. And when you have a folk religion that believes that the divine can exist anywhere in the natural world, the idea of a god isn't really...
There is no joke here. Japan has a penis festival. You know what? That doesn't actually surprise me.
Set in stone. For example, in the anime Noragami, the main character, Yato, is a forgotten god. He has no worshippers to sing him praises, no shrine to call his own.
Really good anime.
He lives in poverty due to the lack of offerings by said absence of followers. He's irresponsible, he's gullible, and he suffers from his own set of personal insecurities. He doesn't really cut the image of a divine being that's supposed to be above it all. As renowned Japanese author Takeshi Matsumae said, quote, "The gulf between divinity and humanity found in the Judaic religions doesn't exist in Shintoism. Even though the Shinto kami, or gods, are given credit for creating various parts of the universe, kami are neither omniscient or omnipotent, and are not necessarily immortal. Divinity isn't some all-powerful juju that needs to be worshipped in Shintoism, but rather it's something that exists all around you that needs effort to be preserved, which is why so many Shinto shrines exist near natural phenomena, like waterfalls, or even just stones by the ocean. Divinity in Shintoism is the natural world. And
I watched season 2 of Noragami because it was my girlfriend's favorite anime at the time. I broke up around season 2 releasing, then I forgot to go back and watch it later.
the natural world isn't maintained, then divinity too can die. And when the idea of a spirit or a god can die just as easily, the idea of god killing doesn't really become that controversial, which is why anime and manga can easily portray gods as divine or as weak as they need to. Now, this is
right. So this is unlike in many like Judeo-Christian beliefs where God is this like all-powerful being. In Shintoism, there's this idea where they are powerful and there are certain gods which are very incredibly important, but most aren't really that big of a deal. And you have these like a tiering system of gods.
to say that this is the only reason why Japan loves murking God. From what I found, Shintoism nowadays is more of a cultural rather than a religious thing, with many people saying that they leave offerings at temples because, well, that's what they've been told to do as kids, and it's just a background thing that they do in their life. But this cultural identity that's separate from their religious one plays a big part on why Japan loves killing God. And to explain it, I'm gonna have to dox
What is this
myself.
game? I keep seeing...
Japan loves killing God. And to
He keeps showing this. What is this? Does anyone know what this is from? Is it like Code Vein or something?
explain it, I'm gonna have to dox myself.
Oh.
Welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker!
Man, okay, this is a... I fucking love this guy. Black Desert? That looks like White Knight Chronicles. Okay, what? Let's have a look. White Knight Chronicles. Papa Franku. We love Papa Franku. I don't know what this game is. It could be either. I don't actually have any idea.
From the way my voice sounds, you can tell that I'm a rootin' tootin', freedom lovin', gun totin', Ford F-150 driving, oil lovin', liberty having, eagle screeching, Malaysian. I am Malaysian. I live in Malaysia. It's this country right here, just in case you feel
I actually could not tell from his accent. I've never heard someone from Malaysia speak English.
class. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is because religious and cultural identity is a very big thing in Asian society. For example, even though Shintoism is the indigenous folk religion of Japan, with even 70% of Japan's total population does identify as Shinto in the same circle.
Is a clean accent? He said he's from Malaysia. That doesn't mean he lives in Malaysia. It's very possible he doesn't. Oh, let's see. Let's see what he says on his channel. He doesn't say on his channel. It's possible he was born there and then hasn't lived there in a long time. Or maybe left there as an adult or something. Either way, yeah. I would not be able to guess where he's from.
Survey, they found that 78% identify as not really religiously devout, while 69% of the population identify as belonging to no religion.
20% Buddhism. That makes sense. Yeah, Japan has some level of Christianity, just very, very small.
Shintoism is a religion in Japan, but it's not the religion in Japan. Compare this to my home country of Malaysia. Islam is the national religion of the country. It's quite literally written into our constitution. The Malay identity is so intrinsically tied to the Islamic identity.
When I first watched Anime Man, did you immediately know he's an Oz? I've watched him like I don't even know how many years ago. I could not tell you. I don't think I did, though.
Idea of being a good Malay man just means that your Islamic identity. The idea of being a good Malay
What is
man.
the context of that? The person who's scolded joining from New College. What? Sure.
And just means that you're a good Muslim dude, as long as you keep up with your 5 prayers, fast in the designated months, and pay your alms on time. Malay society will consider you a good person. And this association of Malay culture with
It's a
that
parliamentary
of the
debate, fair
Muslim
enough.
identity is so inseparable nowadays that suggesting a Malay can be anything other than a Muslim will land you in serious trouble. I'm not going to go in depth here, obviously, but just know that religious identity is a very hot button issue in Malaysia. But in Japan, there's no such constraint. There's actually a local cultural saying about Japan.
It's a parliamentary debate. He's asked to speak in English, so he says, fuck you. That's actually crazy based. Okay, I like this guy. I don't know anything else he stands for, but just that by himself, I like him.
Japanese religious identity. As mentioned in Robert Casala's book, Nanzan's Guide to Japanese Religion, he mentions that, quote, it has become commonplace to say that the Japanese are born Shinto, marry as a Christian, and die as a Buddhist. What this means is that, on average, a normal...
I didn't even think of that, right? A lot of people do have Western style weddings in Japan. Like, Japan has become, it's this like weird it's this like hybrid westernized thing. That, you know what? That's a good point.
A
Yeah.
Japanese person will experience some kind of ritual from these 3 religions at least once in their life. Being religiously exclusive is very rare.
Another great choice of
from
anime
these
right
3
there.
religions at least once
Gurren Lagann.
in their life. Being religiously exclusive is very
They have fake churches for weddings. Right. Like, the thing that I always think back on when I think of Japan's interpretation of Western culture is that KFC is very popular on Christmas. KFC has become like a Japanese Christian, a Japanese Christmas tradition.
rare in Japan. It's actually more common to pick and choose aspects of other faiths that you're into. For example, in a paper by Jesse Lefebvre,
Is that a French guy?
Jesse Lefebvre. Who the fuck puts a V in front of a B in their name? In a paper by Jesse R.
Like, let's find out. Is this guy Jesse R. Lefebvre? Yeah, let's find out. That feels like a French guy. I see a Lefebvre. Where's he from? He's at Harvard. I can't find it. I feel like Le French, exactly. Maybe he's not, and maybe it's possible he has French heritage. Because yeah. Le. Anytime I see Le, I immediately think French. The market to make KFC a holiday meal is fucking legendary. I know, right?
Lefebvre. Who the fuck puts a V in front of a...
Japan's treatment of Christmas is purely commercial from everything I know about Japan. That's my understanding as well.
B in their name. In a paper by Jesse R., she says that in the mid-1990s, the number of Christian-style weddings,
That's new, not
ceremonies that take place in chapels or churches with fully ordained priests actually surpass the number of Shinto weddings.
Lem has the
and
same
have
last name? I'm
increasingly
not
become
sure.
the wedding style of choice for many non-religious couples in the greater Tokyo area. And this is mainly down to vibes. Just like in my Europe in anime video, check that out if you haven't already, whatever the Japanese saw in popular
We might
foreign
have to watch
culture
that
they
one.
thought looked good, they wanted to imitate. Now, this video is about killing God and not niche wedding trends, so let me put things back on track. This religious flexibility is a huge reason as to why Japanese storytellers don't seem to mind the concept of deicide. Being non-religious in Japan doesn't mean that you hate religion. It just means that you're not particularly attached to any which one.
Right.
In the same paper that I mentioned, it says, quote, non-religion is not the rejection of faith, but rather the vicarious and affectionate way a Japanese person engages with it. Japanese storytellers aren't trying to offend other people when they kill God. God, capital G or otherwise, but rather they just see it as a way to tell cool stories and explore narratives they
Exactly. Rule of cool.
couldn't before. You want to see Adam from Christian lore beat the shit out of Zeus? Hell yeah! But the anime looks like shit though. You want to see militarized lesbians fight a god who's trying to wipe out the earth and start anew? Oddly specific.
Oh! Cross-Ange! Yes! Hold... Okay, this is garbage. Yes. Oh god, I forgot this even existed. Holy. Here you go. This is garbage. You should watch it. Cross-Ange. Fucking hell, this is rough. It's a Sunrise anime as well. What a great season it aired in.
But here you go. Or you want an anime
Hey!
where capital G God is actually a Japanese high school girl whose every whims and wishes needs to be met, or she will literally wipe everything from existence for being too boring. Please tell me Haruhi references are still timely in 2025. I'm 26.
No, there are adults who... There are people who are adults now who were not born when Haruhi came out. So... You know, we're getting old.
This year, I don't want to feel older than I already am. Now, I'm not here to tell you how to feel about this trope. I'm just here to explore. Religion is a complex topic, and humans are even more complex creatures. Our relationship with the divine is simultaneously beautiful, infuriating, and amazingly complex. And it was really interesting
not possible.
seeing
I know,
how
right?
exactly anime chooses to portray the divine. One minute, God is a literal plot device. The other minute, he is a jaded retiree. And in the other, he is a literal concept. Different portrayals, yet all the same fate. But in that as well, it's all the same message. By killing God, we kill the most holiest and mightiest thing the world yet owned. To fight God is to fight the universe itself. But after reading way too many papers related to theology for this video, I'd say fighting God is the most human thing you can do. It's common for us humans to let the universe take its course and wash over us. But the bravest thing you can do is to defy fate. That when the universe tells you to bow, break, and bend, you look straight into that void and say, no, I will not bow, I will not break, I will not bend. And that's what this trope is. Not stories of God killing for the sake of it, but tales of humans taking hold of their fate, challenging their destiny, refusing to bow when broken. To fight God is foolish. To fight God is insanity. To fight God is to fight fate itself. But to fight God is to be human, to challenge one's fate, and to be the change one wants to see in the world. To fight God is not the rejection of faith, but the acceptance of being human.
I bet there is a god devil in Chainsaw Man. Look, I don't know, but there probably is. It was actually called Fight of Gods. I found a clip. What is this? Wait, Fight of Gods. Oh! What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
Ho ho! Merry Christmas!
What the fuck have you sent me?
Ouch! Ooh, ooh.
What the fuck is this?
Ouch! Come here!
Yeah!
Ooh!
It's a fighting game. I can see that.
Yeah! Holy light!
Merry Christmas! There you go! Merry Christmas!
Holy light!
Ouch!
Yeah!
Oh, there you go! Oh,
Yeah!
Merry Christmas! Oh,
Christ.
I'm back! Merry Christmas!
Wait, I've heard that sound effect before. I don't know where I've heard it before, but I've heard that sound effect.
Yeah!
Ooh.
Yeah!
Also, Sandra is my favorite god.
Merry Christmas!
Yeah! 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 Hey, oh! Amen.
Amen. Tune in and see Brodie watching someone beat the crap out of Santa. That would be Jesus Christ. That would be Jesus. That was a really good video. I Not the Jesus fighting God one, the other one. I think we'll check out one more, and then I'm gonna have to go for the day. Are you not entertained?